According to a 2023 study from Harvard Business Review, 76% of American professionals reported experiencing burnout. That means if you're feeling exhausted, mentally drained, and disconnected from your work, you're not alone. But here's the twist. What Carl Jung discovered nearly a century ago might be the breakthrough modern science is just starting to grasp. Imagine waking up and the very first thing you do is check your email, before your feet even touch the ground. Sound familiar? That tiny action might be one of the strongest predictors of burnout, and yet, it's become so normal we barely question it. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, wasn't just a thinker of his time, he was a visionary. While most were trying to treat symptoms, Jung focused on the root, the inner conflict between who we are and who we pretend to be, especially in professional life. He believed burnout isn't just about stress or overwork. It's about disconnection from the self. And Simon Sinek, whose work on Start With Why revolutionized leadership thinking, unknowingly built on Jung's legacy. When Sinek speaks about purpose, he's echoing Jung's deepest truth. The key to sustainable success isn't pushing harder, it's aligning deeper. In this video, you'll discover 9 powerful Jungian principles, each one a step on the path from exhaustion to renewal. And we'll reveal how Sinek's ideas can give those steps real-world traction. These aren't abstract theories. They're practical insights you can apply starting today, and begin transforming your experience of work in just 21 days. Throughout this journey, you'll also uncover 3 hidden insights Jung discovered about work. The third one, which we'll only explore in the final chapter, changed the lives of some of today's most influential leaders. Don't miss it. So let's begin with a simple question. How often do you check your email before getting out of bed? What might that one habit be telling you about your own burnout? There's a reason burnout feels so heavy. It's not just a matter of being tired. It's a soul-level exhaustion. A kind of spiritual disconnection that whispers, "This isn't who I'm supposed to be." And Carl Jung, long before the term burnout existed, already understood this deep inner conflict. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. That quote alone could be a compass for your entire professional life. Let's start with Jung's first principle. Look inward before looking outward. It might sound simple, even obvious, but think about your last week. How much of your attention was spent reacting? Emails, meetings, notifications, performance reviews. The modern workplace rewards speed but rarely reflection. And when you're in constant motion, you miss the most important signals of all. The ones from within. That's why burnout often catches us by surprise. We're trained to check productivity metrics, not emotional thermometers. But here's something Jung would ask. Are you spending your energy, or is your energy being drained without your awareness? There's a practice inspired by Jung's theories that helps here. It's called the energy audit. Take just 3 minutes right now, or later tonight. Grab a notebook or your phone. Write down all the activities from your day. Then next to each one, mark it with a plus if it gave you energy or a minus if it drained you. What you'll see might surprise you. For many professionals, things like team lunch or solo creative work get plus signs. But endless meetings, shallow tasks, and late-night Slack messages? They bleed you dry. And unless we see the pattern, we live inside it blindly. Take the story of a media executive who collapsed in her office. Literally. She woke up in the hospital with a broken cheekbone and a warning. Slow down or risk everything. That woman was Arianna Huffington, founder of the Huffington Post. Her wake-up call came after ignoring every sign of burnout. It wasn't until she turned inward that her real recovery began. Jung's second principle adds an even deeper layer. Analyze your dreams. Jung believed that dreams are the language of the unconscious, raw, unfiltered truths that bypass our daily defenses. Modern neuroscience backs this up. A recent Stanford study found that professionals experiencing burnout were far more likely to report dreams involving being chased, falling, or drowning, classic symbols of helplessness and overload. But here's the powerful part. You can use those dreams as guides. Simon Sinek, though not a psychologist, echoes this idea in his own way. When leaders reflect on their behavior patterns, they begin to lead with intention, not impulse. That's dream work in action. Conscious awareness rising from unconscious signals. Want to start decoding yours? Try a dream journal. Keep it by your bed. The moment you wake up, jot down anything you remember, even fragments. After a week, look for themes. Are you running from something? Lost in a building? Constantly trying to speak but no one hears you? Your dreams might be revealing the emotional architecture of your burnout. Here's something to think about. If your unconscious had a voice, what would it be screaming right now? Now let's move to Jung's third principle. Face reality, don't run from it. Jung said, "What you resist persists." And in the context of burnout, this hits like truth. Denying you're overwhelmed doesn't make the pressure go away. It makes it grow in the dark. There's a remarkable example of this in the world of finance. Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Associates, is known for pioneering a culture of radical truth and transparency. His commitment to facing reality, however uncomfortable, transformed not just his company but his own leadership philosophy. He credits Jungian thinking as one of the roots of that change. The big idea: stop pretending things are fine. Fine is a mask. Reality is the mirror. And here's the paradox. When you finally stop resisting your exhaustion, when you name it, you give yourself permission to heal. That's not weakness. That's the first act of courage. So let's pause here. If burnout isn't just about too much work, could it be about too little alignment? But confronting reality is just the beginning. In the next chapter, you'll see how Jung believed the real cause of burnout isn't what most people think it is, and how the solution might be the very thing you've been avoiding all along. What if burnout isn't caused by too much work, but by working too far from who you really are? That's where Carl Jung's fourth principle lights the way. Integrate your opposites. He once said, "Wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but by integration of the contraries." In plain terms, you can't heal burnout by choosing between passion and paycheck, ambition and authenticity. You have to learn to hold both. This isn't just spiritual wisdom, it's strategic psychology. Many high performers walk into their jobs wearing a professional mask. Polished, predictable, perfect, but inside they feel disconnected, drained, unseen. And that gap, that's burnout's breeding ground. Think about it. How often do you feel like you're playing a role at work instead of being yourself? That's your persona, a concept Jung developed to describe the social mask we wear. But behind that mask is the self, your full, authentic potential. Simon Sinek shows us what this looks like in action. Great leaders, he says, balance vision with vulnerability. They don't just drive performance, they create belonging. And that only happens when we stop pretending and start integrating. Let's get practical. Try this exercise. Create two lists. One titled My Professional Persona, and the other My True Self. In the first, write how you show up at work, your tone, habits, image. In the second, describe who you are when no one's watching. Then ask, where's the tension? Where do these two selves clash? You might find that the more you split yourself, the more you slip toward burnout. That leads us to Jung's fifth principle. Be aware of hidden superstitions. Now, we're not talking about lucky socks or Mercury retrograde here. Jung believed even the most rational professionals carry unconscious beliefs, modern superstitions, that silently sabotage them. In the American workplace, some of these beliefs sound like this. If I'm not available 24/7, I'll be replaced. Taking a break means I'm lazy. Responding to emails at 2 a.m. proves I'm committed. None of these are facts. They're cultural scripts. And yet we live by them. They shape our routines, our stress levels, our health. Here's a quick gut check. Which of these beliefs do you secretly carry? Let's look at an example. At Google, they introduced something radical. Employees could spend 20% of their time on personal passion projects, even during work hours. Most experts thought this would hurt productivity. Instead, it birthed products like Gmail and Google Maps. Why? Because they challenged the work equals effort equals hours superstition. And they tapped into something deeper. When people feel free to express all parts of themselves, innovation happens. Let's list out the 5 most common destructive professional superstitions. 1. Busy means important. 2. Perfection is the only standard. 3. Asking for help is weakness. 4. Self-worth equals job title. 5. Time off is a reward, not a right. Now ask yourself, how many of these have shaped your work habits? What if releasing just one could release the pressure building inside you? Jung's 6th principle may be the most underestimated of all. Think. Don't judge. Let that sink in. Thinking is difficult, that's why most people judge. In burnout culture, judgment comes quick. We judge ourselves, I'm falling behind. We judge others, they're not pulling their weight. We judge situations. This will never change. But judgment shuts the door. Thinking opens it. Simon Sinek calls this the shift from reaction to reflection. When you lead, or live, from your why, you're not just reacting. You're thinking with clarity, asking better questions, finding better answers. Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, made this shift company-wide. When he stepped into leadership, he dismantled a culture of blame and competition and rebuilt it around curiosity and learning. His motto, empathy over ego. That's Jungian. That's Sinek. And it's doable. Try this. The next time you catch yourself judging yourself or someone else, pause and convert that judgment into a question. Instead of, this will never work, ask, what would need to be true for this to work? That one shift can change your mindset and your career. So here's where we are. You've seen the burnout mask. You've challenged the hidden beliefs. You've begun shifting from judgment to thought. But there's one more barrier that stops even the most dedicated professionals from fully living these principles. And it's something we rarely admit, even to ourselves. Burnout doesn't disappear with a weekend off, or a new job, or a single mindset shift. True recovery, lasting transformation requires something deeper. A change in how we live, lead, and see ourselves. And for Carl Jung, that shift begins by confronting the invisible forces that sabotage our growth, starting with pride. Principle 7. Avoid excessive pride. Jung warned, through pride we are ever deceiving ourselves. Now here's the twist. Pride often disguises itself as strength, especially in high-achieving environments. You tell yourself you're being confident, committed, ambitious. But under the surface, pride can be hiding something much more fragile: insecurity. In the corporate world, few stories reflect this better than Steve Jobs. Early in his career, his pride isolated him. Eventually, it got him ousted from the very company he founded. But when he returned to Apple years later, something had shifted. He still had fire, but with it came focus, humility, and a willingness to listen. That version of Jobs didn't just build better products. He built a better culture. Simon Sinek touches on this in his concept of infinite leadership. The idea that real leaders aren't obsessed with winning today. They're focused on building something that lasts beyond them. That mindset leaves no room for ego. Here's a tool to check yourself: the no ego feedback test. Once a week, ask a trusted peer this. What's one thing I did this week that helped our mission, and one thing I did that got in the way? Then listen. No defensiveness, just curiosity. You'll be amazed what you learn, if you're willing to hear it. Now on to Principle 8. Be eager to grow older. Sounds counterintuitive, right? Especially in a culture obsessed with youth, speed, and disruption. But Jung believed something profound. Life really begins at 40. Until then, you are just doing research. Modern neuroscience supports him. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for deep insight and integrated decision-making, doesn't reach full maturity until your 40s or even 50s. Translation: your most valuable years might still be ahead. Take Vera Wang. She became a world-renowned fashion designer after 40. Before that, she was a figure skater, then a magazine editor. It took decades of research to find her real calling. So if you're feeling behind in your career or worried you've missed your chance, ask yourself this. What if everything up to this point was preparing you for what really matters? Here's a mindset shift. Experience isn't a weight, it's a weapon. Use it. One final truth to anchor the transformation. Principle 9. Tell your story. Jung once wrote, "The reason for evil in the world is that people are not able to tell their stories." When you suppress your struggles, your detours, your doubts, you lose more than just catharsis. You lose connection. You lose meaning. Simon Sinek reminds us that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. That's not just a sales pitch. It's a life principle. Your why lives in your story. Think about a time in your career when you almost quit. What pulled you back? What did you learn? What parts of yourself did you meet that you didn't even know were there? Sheryl Sandberg did this after the tragic loss of her husband. She didn't hide her grief. She shared it, and in doing so sparked a movement around resilience, compassion, and human-first leadership. Here's a simple method to begin crafting your narrative today. 1. Name the challenge. 2. Name the change. 3. Name the contribution. What did you face? What did it teach you? And how can that story now serve others? And now, the final insight we promised. Jung discovered something that the modern workplace is only beginning to accept. Your vulnerability isn't your weakness, it's your strength. Because when you show up real, you give permission for others to do the same. And that's where true innovation and true healing begin. So if you're still wondering whether burnout is a sign that you're broken, consider this. It might be the beginning of your breakthrough. Let's take a breath together. You've just explored 9 profound principles from Carl Jung, backed by timeless wisdom and modern science, and seen how they can reshape not only your relationship with work but with yourself. From looking inward, to decoding your dreams, to facing hard truths, to integrating who you pretend to be with who you really are. Each principle is a step in a journey, not toward perfection but toward alignment. Simon Sinek reminds us, when you know your why, you can endure almost anyhow. These principles don't erase pressure, but they help you respond from purpose instead of panic. That's real freedom. That's power from the inside out. If you're feeling the weight of burnout, know this. You are not weak. You're awakening. Burnout isn't the end, it's the invitation. An inner call to reevaluate what matters and to begin again with clarity. So what now? You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Start with the 21-day practice. 1 principle per 2 days, then repeat. Tiny shifts. Honest reflection. Courageous curiosity. Each day ask yourself, which part of me did I honor today? Which part did I silence? What story am I writing with my actions? Let that awareness build. Let it guide. Let it grow into something unshakable. And if you're here right now, still listening, still reflecting, know this. You're not alone. Thousands are walking the same path. The path from burnout to balance. From performance to purpose. And your story matters. So, which principle resonated most with you? Let us know in the comments. Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if this video sparked something in you, share it. Let's keep the conversation alive. Finally, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We're building a space where stories heal, where ideas ignite, and where people like you rise. Hey, incredible growth seekers. Wow, what a journey. If this video resonated, subscribe now for more life-changing content. Join our community of self-improvers. Smash that like button to fuel more content on mindfulness, goal setting, and emotional intelligence. Share this video to create a ripple of positive change. Comment below about your growth journey. Your insights shape our content. Next week, boosting self-confidence and overcoming limiting beliefs. Don't miss it. Every interaction brings us closer to a world of empowered individuals. Let's make personal development global. Stay inspired, keep growing. Your best self awaits. Let's unlock it together.